Hello Internet, my name's Corrigan, and I'm here to talk to you about setting up a budget for buying a house as a cooperative. Alright, so here is a spreadsheet in Google Docs that is a budget for the development or purchase of a property to be used as a cooperative house. This document is shareable. You can find it on our website, and there's also a separate document like Word doc file that you can use. So let's take a look at what goes into this budget and how you can use it to plan for developing a cooperative. So there's several tabs here. There's Development tab, which shows the use of funds and source of funds for purchasing the property. There's a Renovations tab that shows items of work that might need to be done on a property to bring it to make it usable as a cooperative. And there's a first year operating budget, which shows the income and expense for the first year of operations, rent for room, and various expenses. The spreadsheet also has a sheet for a 5-year operating budget, a leasing budget, and a loan amortization schedule, which we won't go over in this set of videos. Alright, let's first take a look at the development budget. So on this screen we can put in the address of the property, number of beds, approximate square feet, and appraised value. These are good reference numbers that we'll base other estimates off of. The first section is use of funds, so this is things that you're going to spend money on in order to purchase and develop the property. First line is the purchase price, the list price that you would agree to with the seller. The next line is the renovation costs, and this number pulls in directly from that renovation tab. If you double click, you can see that that's a reference to that cell on that other table. We also want to include a contingency on the renovation budget. We're going to estimate 15% here, but you can adjust that estimate based on your needs. There's a expense line for legal costs, which would be anytime that you need to hire a lawyer. Often you'll want to have a lawyer look over purchase agreements, deal with issues that might come up with respect to liens on the property, and reviewing loan agreements from your bank or credit union that you're borrowing from. The appraisal is a one-time expense to hire someone to assess the value of the property, and this is provided to the lender. It's ordered by the lender but paid for by the buyer, so you don't get to pick who the appraiser is. Your bank will just tell you, and then you'll pay the bill. A land survey also is ordered by the lender, and that's to verify that the property and the land that you're looking to buy match up with the legal description of it and records held by the government. A property inspection is to have someone come through the building and look to make sure that it's in good condition and identify anything that might need to be fixed or could be hazardous for the occupants. When you get that inspection, that's also usually a situation where the results of that inspection might provide conditions that let you get out of the purchase agreement that you make with the seller, or you might be able to negotiate with the seller to reduce the price if there's significant flaws like a cracked foundation or termites or asbestos or something like that that the inspector finds. You'll want to have a line here for closing costs and title insurance. This is a catch-all for the different costs associated with completing the transaction. Also certain taxes and fees get wrapped up in here. You can talk to a local title company to find out what their fees are and what all the costs are involved in that. A finance fee is a fee charged by your lender. Typically it's 1%, but it can vary. And that's something that you pay upfront at the time that the loan closes. Let's go down a few more rows here. A development consulting fee is a fee that you pay to a professional developer or development consultant. NASCO provides the services to co-ops, we typically charge, I'm moving over to the right on the spreadsheet here, 3 or 3.5% of the purchase price for those services, which includes advising on the project, managing the different components of closing the purchase, filling out loan applications, negotiating with different lenders, and helping set up the co-op's initial operating structures, budgets, policies, training initial officers. All of that gets wrapped up in there. While I'm over here in column H, this is a column to show some ways of estimating these costs. This is a cell that automatically calculates 1% of the purchase price to give a rough ballpark of what your title and closing costs might be, and calculating 1% of the primary loan to give a rough cost estimate of what the finance fee would be. Alright, there's a few more things here on the use of funds budget. Startup for the household, you want to budget to buy initial supplies of food, tools, cleaning supplies, small appliances, other things that you want to have available when people move in. And you can also include in here certain business startup costs. There might be office supplies, initial advertising, print materials, especially if you're a co-op that hasn't been around for very long and you don't have your name out there, and you don't have, kind of paperwork and printer and stuff like that. You might want to put that together as part of this initial budget. You also want to include a use of funds for your operating reserve, and this is not an amount that you actually expend. It's the amount of cash that you want to have in the bank when the doors open, so that you're not starting with 0 in the bank and waiting for everybody's first month rent check to come in order to pay any costs. Generally, the co-op should operate with a certain amount of reserve. This estimate here is 2 months of the operating budget, as the cell over here calculates. And oh, maybe we should adjust that. So this cell, you can see this pink color indicates that it's pulling from another location. And then this is the amount you could type in so that you can adjust it as you go. As we go through and adjust various parts of the budget, then we will come back and see how well our estimates match up with those other figures that we got. So, based on what's on the operating budget tab right now, and all of the various values that have been plugged in there, it's giving us 6,651. So let's call that 7,000 for our initial thing, just to have a little bit of cushion there. And then any miscellaneous and contingencies that we might not expect otherwise. So that's the uses. This is all the money that you need to spend upfront to get a cooperative off the ground.